Welcome to Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Being a fireman, father, veteran, husband, world record holder, and Ironman, he brings stories of experience to impact your life while challenging you to live it. What do you want from your life? Why do you want it? Are you willing to go through the challenges to get there? If you have the courage to take that first step, let this podcast be the catalyst to start your fire, while you bring the resilience to make it continue to burn. Our lives are made up of moments called right nows. So let's get started. Forged in the Fires podcast with your host, Fireman Rob, begins now.
We got the same blood, the same blood. Stay by your side, it's ride or die. We've got the same blood.
All right, welcome back to Forged in the Fires podcast. I'm your host, Fireman Rob. Today, my guest, a good friend, a gentleman who started this amazing podcast called Spartan Leadership. He is a very accomplished businessman. He is now really leaning in more towards being that teacher, that leader. I love it so much. Josh Kosnick, thanks so much for joining me today.
Hey, good to be with you, brother.
Now, you know, I had the privilege of being on your Spartan Leadership podcast, and it was so awesome to have that conversation. And I want to start there from that podcast that you have. It's video, it's audio, it's really personal. What was the premise behind starting that Spartan Leadership podcast?
So I had a podcast previously called Inspire People, Impact Lives. And that was really my mission statement way back when I was running a financial firm.
Yeah.
Because that's what we did on a day-to-day basis. And when I separated from that financial firm, would have been officially to 2021 anyhow, I started, reassessing a lot of things in life. And one of those was the podcast. Did I want to still do it? Is the name and the premise, does that still hold true? And the answers were, yes, I still want to do it. The name, the premise, the audience, what we were going for, that needed to shift a little bit. So what I wanted to do, now that my influence wasn't just in the financial space and more broad-based to many leaders and entrepreneurs across America and some listeners even across the world, was created something that was more of a leadership-based podcast. I actually, my coaching and consulting company is called Kairos, which is an ancient Greek and ancient biblical word. And so sticking with the Greek theme and having been enamored with the movie 300 and Spartan culture, I looked into it. I said, hey, is there a Spartan leadership podcast out there? Because that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, to my surprise. I thought maybe
awesome.
Michigan State University or
Joe
someone
Decino
else
would have gotten it. Somebody.
Yeah, someone else would have had it, and it wasn't out there. So I'm like, all right, let's roll with this.
That's
and
awesome.
So we got that set in the stone. I created some branding around it, and now having a lot of fun. Obviously, having leaders like yourself on there, having great discussions, and then also once a month we do a leadership and review, which I would have never been able to do this with the compliance world in the financial industry.
I can imagine.
Talk about politics and how poorly our government is being ran. So once a month, I have a cigar with a friend or two that have different political views than I, and we have a contentious conversation surrounding either a hot topic, either leadership-wise or politically or even civically, but based on what the current hot topics are. And so we show people how to have a contentious conversation and still come out friends, because that seems to be a lost art nowadays.
Oh, you're so right in that. I mean, that's such a powerful statement that you just made, because it's so hard for people to be tolerant of ideas or opinions that aren't theirs. And when you talk about this leadership, what was it in your life that kind of led you to this point of being able to have those contentious conversations?
A lot of contentious conversations.
Repeated hitting the head against the wall.
Yeah, that's the simple answer. The longer answer is this. I've been a leader for a long time. Even when I dropped out of school, well, I mean, you can go back to sports days, captain of sports teams, you get your,
Yeah.
you dip your toe into that leadership pool, but it's not until you're really charged with other people's lives, paychecks, and responsibilities that you really feel the pressure of being a leader.
Right.
When you have people counting on you, your vision, your mission, and your ability to produce, like their livelihood is dependent on you, that's really when I feel like you can call yourself a true entrepreneurial leader anyhow. I know there's
Right.
leaders in the military and in the firehouse like yourself and other places like that. In the entrepreneurial world, until you're employing people and responsible for their livelihoods and their family and their dreams, that's where I think you can truly call yourself a leader. Now, that being said, so a lot of mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
A lot of conversations had. I used to be the one that would avoid contentious conversations. I've
Really?
often joked, yeah. So I hated, let's just say this. I'll take it back to like high school and college before I was married and living out those single days. I absolutely hated breaking up with a girl.
Wow.
In fact, I hated it so much that I usually would be an asshole or just do something
Really?
dumb to get them to break up with me.
Oh my gosh, that's
Because I hated
crazy.
it so much. So
Oh
then, you fast forward and now I'm a sales manager at Best Buy. Was my first job after I, quit school, dropped out of college because I was in sales there. And
Yeah.
I'm forced to have some really, really tough conversations. In fact, I saw my store manager, who happened to be female.
Yeah.
She hated contentious conversations so much. She made me have some of these really uncomfortable conversations. I'll give you one as
That's a great teammate right there. Wow.
Oh, this one's awful. So this one, she had me, the sales manager, have a conversation with someone in the operations department and customer service, which was not my department, by the way. But there was a female in the operations department that had some body odor issues. And she forced me to have that conversation with her.
Oh, that had to be awful.
It was awful. It was like,
were you sweating yourself?
Oh my gosh. You know the difference between working out sweat and stress
Yes.
sweat.
By far.
Stress sweat to the point that I had body odor having this conversation. It was so uncomfortable, so unnatural, and should not have come from me. It was a great learning lesson to be like, hey, when you're the leader, you not only have to have contentious and difficult conversations, you also need to know tact, and you need to know who's the most appropriate one to have that conversation. In that instance, it was not me, and I had to do it anyhow.
Oh my gosh,
so you fast forward to the point where I actually became so disdain or I just hated conflict or the elephant in the room so much that I overswung the pendulum, like we often do, like society often do.
Yeah, that's
politics, right?
Oh yeah.
So I overswung so far that I would say things, just blurt them out, right? I would just blurt them out, and to the point that they would not come out right. So my intent and my impact didn't match. And when you're having difficult or contentious conversations, your intentions and the impact that what you're saying has need to match. And at that time in my career, they were not. So to make this, to kind of land this plane anyhow, I said a lot of things that would come off wrong, and then I'd have to circle back and be like, hey, that's not what I meant. What I meant was this, like, I really care about you, and this is, I see you going down this path, and if you don't course correct, you're not going to be here in a month. Right. So then I had to course correct. So now I was like, okay, well, that's wasting some of my time. So how do I get back to having a conversation in one sitting that is my intentions and my impact match, the message lands, and that we can both go on our day and be better for it. So it was a lot of trial and error. It was a lot of being bad at it at the beginning to now being good at it. And now I can hold space for just about anyone. And really have a good conversation. I mean, unless they're totally ignorant or totally narcissistic, and I realize that the conversation's not going to go anywhere, and they're not truly listening to me or anyone else's side, then I'm just going to end the conversation because we know we're not going anywhere. But I really truly feel like I can hold space for anyone at this point.
And that's a huge skill to be, especially as a leader. And I think that's such a powerful thing. And you were talking about your mastermind, your group that you have, that when you and I were talking about it, it sounded just so amazing to be able to help shape these lives of these individuals coming in. Tell me more about what are the components that when somebody comes into your Kairos coaching or the mastermind groups, what is it that they're going to see in themselves to be able to move forward?
Well, that's a great question. So I hope my goal is to build some superhumans. And my definition of superhuman is truly being able to function not just exceptionally well on the professional level, not just exceptionally well on the physical level, not just exceptionally well on the spiritual level, but packaging all these things together. Because I've seen so many entrepreneurs just absolutely crush it in financial success, in business success, and then they leave their relationships at home burning. They leave they're divorced 4 times. Their kids hate them, or they're just spiritually broken. And so what I want to get from most, or not get, but give to most people, and in return I get, is seeing them become their true potential, their whole potential, not just professionally, but personally, in relationships, in relationship with God, or whatever they believe for that matter. It doesn't have to be God. It could be universal energy we could talk about, because I actually think that spiritual connection and universal energy is the same thing, just oftentimes it's packaged differently for different people's beliefs.
Right.
Financially, like, do they still play? Are they finding play and enjoyment in their life? Because what a lot of scientists, and including neuroscientists, have found is our connection to play. Why are our children up to about 5-6 years old absolute geniuses, and then we lose that genius over time? We lose the ability to play and to be creative over time as we file into this like regimented school system and this is the societal norms. So I want to see an experience for all of the people that I come into contact with, that they're really hitting on all cylinders of life. So when we're coaching or we're talking to people, it's not just going to be hitting your professional goals and holding you accountable. It's going to be holding you accountable to your physical goals. Because to hit big goals, you need big energy. And to have big energy, you need to be physically fit. You need to be mentally and emotionally fit. And you need to have a spiritual balance to your life. So that, and when I say balance, it's often counterbalance that we need to, because that term gets thrown out there.
It's a hard term to understand. Yeah.
Yeah, work-life balance is, so what I call it more is work-life integration. So I want to make a specific point here, because a lot of teams, when you say the word balance, the reason it's hard is most people think 50-50. And nothing in life is ever going to be 50-50. I got 4 young kids. So like, even if I wanted to spend 50% of my time with them, it's not possible, because they're in school from 8 to 3. We got to sleep. Like, there's never going to be 50% of the time, no matter how much you slice it. So that's why that balance is such a fallacy. You really have to work in integration and make sure that you're getting the most out of life with your family, spending quality time over quantity time, and making sure that you're taking care of number one first, which is you, so that you can be all that you need to be for everyone that you're responsible for in your life.
So true. And I love that quality over quantity, because it's one of those things where a lot of people are like, well, I was with you for 2 hours. It's like, well, yeah, an hour and a half you were on the phone for. That's not being engaged in the moment. How do you have so many things going on? How do you really, what is your trick to engaging in that moment with your kids and with your wife and even with yourself in those moments where you have to have that self-reflection?
All right. So first of all, I'm not perfect. No one is.
No one is.
So I don't ever want anyone to think that I got everything figured out. My kids will be the first one to tell you that I need to put my phone down at certain times because I got clients checking in or something going on.
Yeah.
So I want to start with that. But what I really try to do is be as present as possible. There's a saying that's out there: "Be where your feet are."
Oh,
and it's true, but it's more than just being where your feet are. It's like being really engaged in the moment. It's being really present. It's really centering your thoughts around what is going on in front of your face. Like last night, my 5-year-old, my son, he just wanted me to see the beginning of, he was watching BattleBots, or not BattleBots, some spin-off of Transformers, which Transformers you and I remember from being kids.
I love Transformers.
Yeah, right. Yeah. There's some spin-off of that. And he was watching it on his iPad, and he just wanted to show me the beginning of it. It was basically like its origin story, essentially. Right. It was like the first five. I saw the video, it was like 25 minutes long. I was like, wait, are we watching the whole 25 minutes? He's like, no, just this part. I'm like, okay. And he's like so into it and explaining it, just like all he wanted was my attention for those 5 minutes to show me this cool thing that he was watching and experiencing that he was really into. Right. And then sometimes, it might be just throwing the ball, or sometimes the girls, they're really into dance. And so they just want your attention to show their dance that they're doing for competition. All it is just like putting that phone down and paying attention to what your kids are really finding enjoyment in. Or when your spouse wants, like, here's the thing. Men don't do this, women do this. Well, maybe some men do this, but it's certainly not me. You can chime in if it's you.
I'm going to stay quiet.
They like save stories for us for the end of the day, like what happened at school or something of this nature. And,
not me.
Us like men, like I get crap from her all the time because I'll tell her, hey, so-and-so's pregnant. And she'll be like, do you know what they're having? No, I didn't ask. Oh, so-and-so just had their baby. Did you find out the name? No. I just had a baby.
Do you? I do it 2 days later, and then I'm like, oh, I totally forgot to tell you this.
Yeah, no, exactly. She's like, well, that would have been something I would have saved up to like tell you at the end of the day. I can't believe you didn't tell me. Like, I don't know, my mind just doesn't work like that. But like they save up stories, so they just want our attention at the end of the day. Yeah. To really download, because and oftentimes like my wife's like talking to children most of the day, talking to our 4 kids, like, so she wants to talk to an adult on the same wavelength, same brain wavelength and maturity, and tell these stories to her.
Well, wait, you said maturity. No, come on, Josh.
Yeah. So, it's all relative, right?
It's all okay. It's all relative. Good. I got you. No, I love the philosophy, because it's, and you know what I mean, it takes for leaders, I think it's so valuable to be humble to your mistakes and to the perfection, because I think a lot of people try to lead that perfection. I mean, in the financial industry, you're very, very successful, so people look at you and go, oh man, he's always had this. I mean, now he's just going to continue to have it. But like you were saying, it's not always that way.
No. No, in fact, going away from that financial industry piece, like a lot of people were shocked that I didn't stay in the industry, and that would have been the easier thing to do,
right?
By far. But what I found is, when you fall down, especially when you're really, really successful, and you fall down, whatever that may be, whether it be a divorce, whether it be someone you got terminated, whatever that falling down is for you, you can reinvent yourself in such powerful ways. Yeah. And especially if you lean into God and his purpose and believe he has a bigger plan, like my leadership wasn't just meant for that financial firm. It was meant for a much broader audience. Yeah. It was meant for bigger things. And so now it's just like through prayer and action, right? So that's why I don't like the book, The Secret, because it just talks about thinking and manifesting. It doesn't talk about going out and doing, which is a key component of it.
It's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, it is the biggest thing. Like, and then it's again that trial and error and that screwing up and falling down, and like here's an instance. Like, I never once in my career, never once, from Best Buy to the financial company that I was with, which is a Fortune 100 company, like I never once in my career ever had to choose an email system, had to choose a calendar system, had to choose a CRM. Like, oh yeah, now the world's my oyster. I'm like, well, what calendar system do I want to use? Well, what email system do I want to use? How do I want my website to look? I never had those options before. It was all done for me, which in some senses is really nice. In other senses, it stifles that creativity. So, okay, now what do I want to look at? Oh, and by the way, who is good at doing that can help me implement this.
That's
And
so
you just get
true.
to network and create a whole different, not only life for yourself, but just a different identity for yourself.
It's a different ecosystem that you have. I mean, that's, you hit it on the head. There's like you know, everywhere, everything from when you're in school to really when you get a job, everything is kind of, the environment's built for you. Whereas when you're an entrepreneur, you're building that environment from buying the land to creating every single aspect. What is one of those things that you in the mindset that once you got into that entrepreneurship, what was something that really shocked you that you're like, oh man, I didn't realize I had the opportunity to do this?
It would probably be a better question of what didn't shock me,
Oh, that yeah.
because um, I think that, the biggest thing is the world is our oyster nowadays as far as information. Like it's called the information age, but uh, I don't know that that's necessarily true. Like what's true about it is that you can find out anything you want to know via the internet, uh, through Google search or Wikipedia or anything. There's so many trainings, whether you go to masterclass, whether you go to any of these other different either apps or websites, to be able to
Right.
really reinvent yourself in some powerful, powerful ways. You can go back to school. My wife's going to get her master's in nutrition right now.
Oh, wow.
You can do many different things to reinvent yourself and come up, but then you got to create a business model that actually works, right? So a lot of times what entrepreneurs are doing is figuring out a gap in either technology or society, that they have a product or an idea that works or that they think will work to fill that need for consumers, or you're making something better that once wasn't
Right.
as good, right?
Right.
So either way, now it's okay, I got this idea. For me, in coaching and consulting people, that wasn't necessarily such a big leap, because that's what I was doing as the leader of a financial firm anyhow. I was recruiting
Right.
and developing and coaching people on a daily basis. So that wasn't a big leap, because that was something that I was passionate about and skilled at doing from the get-go. Now it's just, okay, all these other things like creating the leadership retreat, buying the land, to now, how do I want that to look? How do I want it to be
The little
experienced?
things. Yeah.
Yeah, how do I want it to be experienced when people come out here? What do I want them to leave with? What tangible things can they leave with to change their life? What experience can I create? Like thinking through like a Disney type experience.
Right.
Because if you've ever been to Disney with your kids, like I tell parents that are going there for the first time, like, hey, it's a shit show. It is an absolute shit show, but it's also the most magical place on earth for
Oh, by
your
far.
kids. It's like a nightmare for you as a parent, not only from the cost of it,
Oh, yeah.
from just the busyness of the people, some of the rudeness of the people that might be there because they're all trying to do their thing for their kids, all the different stuff. So bottom line is, if you keep your focus on the kids, then it's fine. But the Disney experience and the way they make the kids feel and the specialness of it, that's what I wanted to create on the leadership retreat side as well. So
Very
it's just
cool.
ideating and continuing to test those ideas and test your own skill set to see, okay, do I need to level up here, or am I in a good spot here to continue to run this play?
That's awesome. I love that. It's so powerful to have somebody like yourself who, you know, you've created your path and you continue to manifest that path in different ways with your family. When you look at your kids, you know, what is that legacy that you want to leave with them, through the path that you've chosen, the path that you've created? It wasn't one that was paved for you. It was one that you created. What's that legacy you want to leave for your kids?
Well, the biggest thing is that they take the principles and lessons that I'm giving entrepreneurs, that they take those to heart as well. So now I know that you are never the prophet in your own land. I was the same way with my father. My father was very
Yeah.
successful and very wise, and I fought him tooth and nail until at least my mid 20s. Probably better saying like 30 was when I would actually listen to him better. Um, so I know I have that context and know that my kids are, I'm their dad, so I'm not going to be as taken as seriously until they fully mature. But
Right.
that's still is like the podcast that I do. Like one of the ancillary things that, and I tell this to people that are contemplating starting a podcast, was like, look, there are millions of podcasts out there. You're right.
Yeah.
It is what I would say saturated. However, everyone's voice is you're going to attract your own audience. It's like people are connected to Fireman Rob. They may resonate with my voice, but really they're listening to your show as we speak here, right?
Yeah.
So they're connecting to you, Spartan Leadership, like the people that listen to me connect to me and anyone else. But an ancillary benefit of that is that, God forbid anything happen to me, my kids will always have my voice.
That's what's so huge. It's so powerful. I love
So
that.
These podcasts will always be there, right? So, or my videos or any speeches that get recorded, they'll always have those. And if I choose to write a book like you know, which I do have in process, like once that's out there, like that's a legacy for them to know who their dad was if I don't get the opportunity to live a long life and see them grow.
That's so awesome. I love that because it's so powerful to have that spoken voice, and even you're giving the cool part is you're giving other people that ability to have their voice and their legacy trail on too. And I think it's just a powerful thing. Make sure you go to joshkosnick.com. It's KOSNICK.com. You can find out all about the mastermind. You can see his podcast there and also hire him to speak. Josh, it's been a pleasure having you on, but you're not done yet. I got 3 questions for you. You ready?
All right, fire away, brother.
All right. If you could go back to your 18-year-old self and give yourself one piece of advice, what would that be? Is there too many things?
There might be too many things. All right, so let's focus on one. Man, my first gut thing was like, don't even bother going to college.
See? I like that.
So I went for 2 years. I went with the total wrong premise, which was to continue my football career. I wish I would have gone back and just, I wouldn't change anything, but like, had I had this opportunity, like you asked the question, and be like, don't go to college, just go do your thing and continue and start building from the jump and learn those lessons that you eventually learned anyhow, just a little bit sooner.
Wow. I like that. I would have been the same way. Now, if you could give people, everybody's going through challenges and struggles, and a lot of them are unique to each person. If you could give them 2 habits that they could incorporate into their daily life to continue to move forward, to continue to pursue their best self, what would those 2 things be?
A buzzword or buzz thing out there is morning routine, but I'll give you the why. So one answer for you is the why behind the morning routine. It is setting your mind to win the war of the day, right? So you need your mind that morning time is for you. So for instance, I get up at 5 every day. 5:04 is when my alarm goes off. Number 9 is a special number in my world. So that's why my alarm's a little bit weird, but I have about an hour and a half. Where I have silence, and it's the only silence I have during the day, because otherwise the 4 kids or my wife or work or phone or whatever. And during that time, no email, no phone. It is do my breathing exercises with Wim Hof, do some prayer, do some reading that's helping me get better so I can help others get better. It is setting my mind up. It's taking a shower and then a cold shower. I'm doing all these different things, hydration, all those things are set up to win the day, which is really just preparing my mind for whatever is going to come at me.
I love
that. That's what I would say. So the morning routine gets a little bit buzzy out there. I just want everyone to understand the why. The second thing is I would really, really lean into the power of manifestation and really think about ideating and giving yourself space to contemplate and ideate around what you really want out of life. Manifestation is real. The quantum energy field, and whether you believe in spirituality like or God or Christianity like I do, as well as all these other things, it is all real. And it's a function of you being able to put out the best energy and your unique gifts into the world and then acting upon them and starting moving the ball, even if it's little by little, just moving the needle a little bit towards becoming that better version of yourself. Some great things are going to happen.
That's huge to do. All right, this last one's going to be fun. If you could have coffee with 3 individuals, they could be deceased or alive, at a firehouse table. So in other words, no questions are off the table. Everybody's going to answer everything. Who would those 3 people be and why?
All right. First one's easy, Jesus.
Yeah. Yep.
Second one,
sitting down.
sitting down at the table. So I'm gonna go spiritually, politically, and athletically, I think is where my mind's gonna go. All right. So I'm gonna go Jesus. I'm gonna go Abraham Lincoln.
Oh wow.
And this is the only person that I would be starstruck ever if I got to first meet them, because I'm not starstruck by anyone. This is the only person on the planet I'd be starstruck by, Michael Jordan. So those would be my 3.
I
Jesus,
just watched
Abraham
that documentary
Lincoln,
again.
Jordan.
Oh my gosh, that's an epic team right there. Because you got your center, Abraham Lincoln. You got your 2 wings. Right. Yeah, no, I love that. And Josh, I appreciate everything that you're doing as far as being a teacher, a leader, and changing people's lives through both your podcasts and your mastermind and your coaching. So make sure you go to joshkosnick.com and find out more. Josh, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for having me.
Have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening and supporting the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast, and please share this episode with a friend or family. To find out more about Fireman Rob or reach out about a question, go to www.firemanrob.com. Until next time, live your life forged in the fires.